Doek Diaries, third entry. This is a bit late. Not even a bit, it's actually very late. It's after midnight. And here I am on my favorite spot on the balcony, cigarette in hand. And tonight I don't think I want to do this because I know my mind spirals, and some days it spirals to things that inspire me, that excite me, that I want to share, that make me feel like I'm smart and all that jazz. But tonight is not one of those nights. After the first entry on that day, I watched an Ianda Van Zandt video, and I've always loved Ianda, although she's like had a really hard knock life. One of those chicks where you're like, damn girl, it's rough this life thing, eh? But she's a fighter. She's risen. She's done bad all by herself. And anyway, on that night, Iyanla shared a video as she was talking. She says, I'm not even talking to you all, I'm talking to myself. You're all just spectators, but I'm talking to myself. And I was like, whoa, that's an interesting concept. Imagine if Doek Diaries was not outwardly focused, but me talking to myself. And then I was like, whoa, 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 stop the lorry. It's kind of scary for me. It's one of the things that I introspect a lot, but I don't leave myself to my own devices too often because I know I can spiral in the wrong direction and go into things that scare me, nightmares, horrible stuff. And I guess ultimately that's part of the Doek Diaries journey, but I was hoping not to get that deep yet. But already I've been a bit quite deep, impressively deep, because as a marketer I'd always think you need to make people fall in love with you, charm them before you take it all the way there. It's not first date kind of conversation, the things that I've done in the last 2 posts, although some of it is. But tonight, the reason why I was scared is scared the word? The reason why I was reluctant was because I feel like in my own headspace tonight I'm not in jovial, hey, happy-go-lucky, world is great, sisters doing it for themselves mood. I don't know how I am. And one of the things that I love about having moved here was for the first month I was experiencing things where I could be honest with myself and say, I don't have the vocabulary to explain this. And the big one was, this was meant to be the big break. Everything was meant to be so smooth after this. We were meant to be happy, in love, financially stable, exploring Africa, planning to travel. It was meant to be so many things. And when we got here, it wasn't. Not even like 10% of them. And the word could have been disappointed, hurt, angry, upset, but that wasn't the word. Like, I kept searching my head looking for the word and I couldn't find the words to explain it until I spoke to a friend of mine. And I didn't even go too deep, but some people are intuitive like that. And this friend said, it sounds like you're having a turbulent takeoff into your new life. And then it was like click, click, click. That's exactly what it was. And that space led me to realize that I don't always have the words to articulate the space I'm in. Like, okay, I fluently only speak 2.5 languages. So it's not like I know all the words there are to say, but I've always been someone who can express herself verbally or written. And for a change, I was like, these things are happening, and I'm dazed because of a whole lot of other stuff that was going on at the time, which is not the topic for tonight, but I was just dazed. And what I thought was going to happen wasn't happening, but an even bigger rug had been pulled off under me, so being surprised was the norm. And actually 2016 has been a year of surprises. Like, after 10 years working in an industry, living in a country, in a city, I decided move into a new country, join a new industry, and a whole lot of other news. And even be a new me to some extent, because writing, that's what I do, like that's who I am. Whenever I land from an international flight and they say profession, I always write writer, because that's who this girl is. I write. And this year is not a year of even that, deliberately. And so yeah, new vocabularies in a new world. And I'm not in a pessimistic space. I'm filming. I'm gonna come right now. I'm just like 6 minutes in. That's babe, boo, baby daddy. And I've always been an aftershock. Don't know why I'm saying that, but I've always been an aftershock. Things will happen and I'll be okay, and I'll be okay even when people think I shouldn't be okay. And then 6 months later I'll be like, hold on. And that's part of what makes me really weird, I guess. And in this phase I've just been watching and going through it all, embracing the new world, taking chances, falling, getting my knees scraped, dusting myself off, stepping up again, going at it and being like, it's life, this thing, it's an adventure, it's not meant to be Christmas. And yeah. So on the subject of me making Doek Diaries about me talking to myself, that scares the shit out of me. So I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And maybe to some extent I will be, because every time after I post, I listen to the whole message and I'm like, interesting. Okay. It has to be outwardly driven, because it's not indulgent. It's not meant to be indulgent. And if I'm talking to myself, I'm like, oh, remember that person who hurt you, who broke your heart, and that time the world sucked. And in a twisted way, I'm one of those people who enjoys stewing in her own little sad corner. But this is not the point of this. Like, my journals are for that, and some of my books have been for that. But this Doek Diaries has a purpose. There's something I'm slowly drifting towards. I'm not there yet, but each day with each message, I'm feeling it. I feel that I'm getting to that thing. And I said it on the first day, that we need to go through the whole spectrum, but not as victims, but as people with solutions, as people with intellect, as people who are looking at our world in a way that we can influence it for the better, deliberately. And I've always had trouble with the Kulungile Baba idea or message. God gave us brains and passion and drive, so as we live in this world, we need to exercise that, you know. And I plan to do that with this vlog. And I plan to get out of my comfort zone, which is what I'm doing tonight, because before I pressed record, I was like, you're not in the right mood today. You need to be more chirpy and smart feeling, if that's even a term, to be able to do this space justice. But if it's called Doek Diaries, it means going underneath into the deeper spaces of myself. And to be honest, I'm not scared of that. I've been into some yo dark corners of my own self and of my own soul. And having come out of that, having gone through that, I know myself better for it. So if I jump in, I know I can come back out. And as a result, I shouldn't be afraid of making some of these conversations with myself, because that's the one space I've grown the most over the last 5 years. Spaces where I went into myself for answers. I went into myself for answers on religion, on my self identity, on a whole lot of issues, on parenthood, on marriage, on a lot of stuff. And from there, I've learned a great deal and I've grown a great deal. So, to some extent, I will dip into that world of me in my most vulnerable, most scary sides. And that's okay, because there's a bigger goal. And the bigger goal is, let's get somewhere, ladies. Let's do something. Let's take these brains and put them to good use. No, man, it can't just all be for Louis Vuitton bags and trips overseas. We are intellectual, spiritual, feminine beings, and somewhere underneath this dook of every single African woman, there's gold there, and I'm going searching for that gold. And we're gonna find it. We're gonna find it together. Just feel like I had an aha moment. Caster Semenya is running in Rio, killing it. And for me, I'm like, her physique can handle running all of that, but it's how she gets her mind to deal with all the other shit. That's the genius for me. The part where she reads newspapers, hears people's comments, and sees how the world perceives her, but she's like, dude, I know what I'm about. I know I'm going for that gold. And it's, once upon a time was the same thing with Oscar Pistorius, actually. Paralympic, people think less of you, but he was like, when I go into inside my own head, I know what I'm about and what I can achieve. And you best believe that I'm not going to be limited by your idea of me. Those kind of people impress me a great deal. And yeah, there's a word, Schadenfreude. I don't even know how to say it correctly, but I discovered it years ago, but I've been experiencing it a lot since I've been here. So I don't know yet how to describe it, but it means, know how to pronounce it, but it means people who are happy at someone else's demise, or when bad things happen to someone. And I think a lot of people with Oscar were like, you couldn't have been that great. See, you are a murderer deep down. And I'm like, no, there was greatness in there. There's still greatness in there. Although killing girlfriends is not right. Killing anybody is not right. But humanity is complicated like that. He lives his whole life on the edge. He was never that ordinary kid with 2 little legs who was the fourth in the race. He was the one with no legs, the one who came first in the world, the one who became a huge celebrity and now is so hugely vilified. It feels like existing in don't know, in a bigger hurricane kind of space. I'm not saying I'm in that realm, but Brother Polite the other day said something similar, where about he was speaking about existing at a certain frequency, and that's how he can relate to celebrities. Because yes, he's all about depth and proudly African. Let's learn about who we are, but there are levels of vibrations, and people who vibrate at the level of, in my village, I'll grow up to just be a teacher, marry the nurse, and our children will just grow up. You don't really get to experience life at the level of someone I don't know, who spent 27 years in jail like a Nelson Mandela and then became president and won a Nobel Prize. Like, feels like their circle is bigger and their space of influence and existence is bigger. And I believe to some extent those vibrations are vibrations I can relate to in a big way. Even before I could say it myself, people would see it in me and say things, and I'd be like, me, I'm just talkative and yeah, whatever. And I think and I read and I love documentaries and asking questions, and I've got this weird sense of humor about life where I look at this and I'm like, but gents, why must these Jesus be that white in this country where we are all black and we're oppressed, but we all still think he's our Jesus type of thing? Just as an example. But yes, one of my most favorite escapes is humor, and I got that from my mom. We used to laugh like mad when I was growing up. We were like sisters, and whenever life gets that serious, I'm like, no, calm down. It's never that serious, and sometimes it is even more serious than that. But you're like, in my head, let's just release some of the tension and relax. Take it easy, for there is nothing that we can do. That's why I love dancing. And I love music because it's a release. If you're gonna tighten the screw so much thinking and going deep and trying to figure out the meaning behind the meaning behind the meaning, I find it healthy to find a release as well, where you look at it all and be like, who knows? And a lot of philosophers have said the one thing they know for sure is that they know nothing at all. So, yes, this is me and this is Doek Diaries. Good night.